Alright, that works, I guess. I'm Tyler. I'm from Lincoln, Massachusetts, which is just outside of Boston. I'm going to be a senior this coming year, and I'm here to talk to you about problems we have today, both in society, like our global society, we have as Americans, we have as parts of our community. I mean, every society has problems, all levels of society have problems. And I'm going to focus on specific problems. To start, I want to talk about the amount of waste we produce, especially as Americans. As a global community, we produce waste, but Americans, we have a consumer society that encourages we buy more, and we buy more, and then we throw it away. In 1980, we threw away 90% of the waste we produced. That's not good. In 2005, we got better, but we're still throwing away 70% of the things. So throwing away 70% of the waste we produce, and we're only recycling 30%. That's 1/3 of the things we're throwing away we're recycling. So that means 2 out of every 3 things we're throwing away is not being recycled, and it has to go somewhere. I was searching for somewhere it could go. Like, I know the Earth has limited space, and I found that we're running out of space quicker and quicker, faster than I realized. When was it? It was like 1985. We started incinerating more and more of the waste we were producing. I think we were incinerating almost 95% of the waste we were producing, and that caused a lot of problems with carbon emissions and problems like that. So I looked more into that, and since then we've decreased kind of the incinerating aspect of waste and that stuff. Yeah, good. But still, there's a problem. Waste incineration makes up 41% of the carbon emissions we see today in the atmosphere. So because we're producing so much, we're contributing to carbon emissions, we're contributing to greenhouse gases, we're contributing to global climate change. Thirdly, it's not just waste incineration that's contributing to these greenhouse gases. It's driving cars and production of fossil fuels and usage of fossil fuels that aren't renewable energy sources. So I found that, especially in my community, I'm sure it's just like this in your communities too, people just don't have the drive to ride a bike. People don't have the drive to walk somewhere. We've developed a reliance on cars that seems almost irreversible. We're driving 3 trillion miles a year, just as Americans. That's a lot of miles. I was shocked by that number. At first I saw 3,000, I was like, oh, well that's not that bad. And then that's in millions, 3,000 million miles. So yeah, like I said, we have problems, and they need to be addressed, and they need to be addressed soon. And I'm not just here to scare you, but I am here to scare you, because we need to be scared. On the top left, that's just a picture of a landfill. On the left side, I found this picture. I was shocked. I thought landfills were just like mounds of trash that just sat on top of the earth and just got bigger and bigger. But they extend, thousands of feet underneath the Earth's surface. I couldn't believe how much trash there was. The thing that struck me about that picture up top is there's so much trash, and then there are these trucks moving around, and the black smoke coming out of them. I just don't want to be breathing in that air. I don't want to be living in a community that looks like that. And on the bottom right, this is a picture of a waste incinerator producing who knows what. Something bad. Don't want to breathe that in either. And nor does the earth. And I just think back to the days when I have a sickness. I feel like that's how the earth feels. It sucks. And we should probably help it out somehow. Good thing, there's hope. Not everything is lost. There are solutions out there. The Aztecs say the world's going to end in 2012. It's not going to end in 2012. We're probably going to keep going, but if we don't change the way we live, I don't think it'll be much different. We're going to probably see the end of the world just like they're talking about in 2100 or something like, sometime far too close for me to even conceive or even think about. So I put together a to-do list for everybody here, for everybody I might talk to in the future, for everybody I meet. We need to be more conscious and aware of how our everyday actions have serious implications on the earth. It's not just direct implications like driving a car, but things like buying things that are not renewably produced, and things like, I don't even know. There are so many things I can't. Like using your dishwasher. That's indirectly it produces carbon emissions somehow. So we need to decrease our carbon emissions, and we need to think about how everyday actions play a role in carbon emissions. We need to decrease waste production, increase recycling. Those two kind of go hand in hand. We need to try to avoid driving cars as much as possible, and we need to care enough to do something. We need to care enough to do something. So I put together a tangible solution for my community. I know a lot of communities have trash pickup systems that come around once a week, and houses can put trash out on the end of their driveway and they'll pick it up, bring it to the dump. Our community doesn't have that, so people end up driving alone to the dump every week, their own cars. And although it's a small population, it ends up making a big difference on how many cars are driving around all the time. So I'm gonna try to bring in a trash pickup system from a neighboring town, because it's not that much out of their way, and I'm sure they'd be willing to help, especially if they're gaining business. And I'm gonna incentivize the trash production. That's not right, but yeah, don't produce so much trash. Put a tax on excessive trash production. If I feel like, let's say every week a house gets 2 bags of trash, something like that. If you produce more than that, you gotta pay the town $100. That seems a little excessive, just a number off the top of my head. But that'll increase recycling, and that's what we need to go. That's what we need to do. The plan. First, I need support. I need people behind me. I need to know that other people care, just for myself and for everybody else. So first, posters, flyers, set up a website, meeting at the high school, give people information, what's happening, maybe how they can help, but mainly information on what's happening. I need to look for support among parents, because they're the ones that are in the committees, they're the ones that have power in the town meetings. So work through the kids to get to the parents, work through the parents to get to the kids, kind of thing. And Paul Pearson's my neighbor, so having him on my side could be good, because he's the truth. Continued. I want to draw attention to our group. Once we have numbers, I feel like it'll be easier to get attention drawn to ourselves, but you need radio broadcasts, writing an article. People see those kind of things, and once you see those kind of things, like, politicians can't get it out of their brains. Like, we said it all this week, you plant a seed. So once I have attention, put pressure on the politicians, send in letters. They can't ignore me. They can try, but so set up meetings with them, call in, and just put pressure on them. We have petitions. The most important person in my town right now, or for my project, is the town administrator, Timothy Higgins, and he's gonna be mainly pressured by these 5 people: head of public works, conservation director, treasurer, especially the board of selectmen, and his assistant town administrator. People I can put pressure on individually, or our group can, is sponsors, the finance committee, green energy technology committee, and the recycling committee. They can put pressure on that second tier, who can in turn put pressure on Higgins. Down the road, I want to see how much this is actually helping my community. And Alex actually suggested I get in touch with some professors that would know how to calculate the carbon emissions I'm saving. So it would be rather complicated math, that kind of stuff, but if I could, I think it would be valuable for my community members and local politicians to see what we're actually doing. And also a survey, just how many times you go into the dump alone, how many times you drive your car around, how much you're recycling, that kind of thing. And that should do it. Any questions? Yes.
I have two things. One is there are some towns in this area who actually make you pay for the garbage bags.
Yeah.
So you have to buy the trash bags.
Right.
So the more trash you generate, the more it costs you to dispose of it.
Right.
But another thing to be aware of is you don't want to make it to the point where people are going to start dumping illegally because it gets too expensive.
Yeah.
And also in this area, there's another company that actually picks up trash by bicycle.
Yeah.
They have bicycle trailers, the pedal people, yeah.
Pedal people, yeah.
So that's a way to actually get trash pickup and not use cars.
Yep.
So you talked about incentivizing recycling a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a great, so I was living in Philadelphia for 2 years, and Philadelphia uses curbside collection. Does your community use curbside collection? Do you have a dump?
Yeah.
You have a transfer station?
And yeah. Right.
Both, or?
We have a dump.
Okay, so you don't go curbside, you have to actually take a trip to the dump.
Right, you have to, everybody has to drive.
So this might be tough for your community, but in communities that have curbside, they use, there's this option to do this program called Recycle Bank, which is they'll come to schools, they'll come to other communities, they'll do any community that's interested. And what it is it basically, every time they take your recyclables off the curbside and put it in the truck and dump it in the truck, it scans your recycling bin, a little sticker you put on it, and then you get points for the amount of recyclables that they collect from you every time. And then you can go online and check how many points you accrue, and you can redeem those points for, buying stuff online that's mostly eco-friendly stuff, and food coupons and all sorts of neat things like that. So that's an idea. I don't know, maybe you could do something like that at the transfer station.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Do you happen to know why your community hasn't done curbside pickup? Why they go with the transfer station option?
We're a small town, but the houses are really spread out.
Mm.
So I feel like maybe people haven't realized how much a centralized system could help. Yeah, because like houses are kind of in the middle of nowhere. Like my house, I can't see another house. So yeah.
Just thinking that it might be good to do a little bit of research into if they tried doing curbside pickup in the past and why they abandoned it, just so that if those questions come up as you're addressing this, you can say, oh, I thought about that.
Right.
And here's my brilliant
Alex.
How are you going to put pressure on Paul Pierce?
How am I going to put pressure on Paul Pierce? I actually saved his dog once.
What kind of dog does he have?
He has a Chihuahua. It was running around on my street, and I picked it up. I looked at the address. I was like, all right, well, I guess I should bring it home. And it was Paul Pierce's house, and so yeah, he owes me one.
I have a feeling.
We get to. So I have another question for you. So one suggestion, I don't know if you did your power map, but I saw the recycling committee on there as your potential allies.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you should go through them first, because they're experts in your community that may know the answers to your question and other questions that you should know.
Yeah.
The other thing was, it'll come back to me.
Have you considered looking at ways to actually reduce the waste of doing programs or working with people in the town to encourage people to buy stuff that's reusable or to reduce their consumption so that you don't generate as much waste?
Yes. I didn't want to focus. I wanted to focus on something, on a closed project for now. If it kicks off, I can expand it. But I figured I'd start with something tangible, something realistic, something I could, like something that wouldn't take an absurd amount of time or too much of my effort.
Great. Any other questions? All right.